What's up, everybody? Sunday Sessions, episode 58. I've been hosting Sunday Sessions for, I don't know, maybe 18 months, 2 years. Every once in a while, I come on live and I provide as much value and insight to all of you to help you be profitable. So today, this is something I started doing recently. People always send me ASINs on social media, products for anybody who doesn't know what an ASIN is. People always send me products on social media. They're like, hey, check out this product for me, check out this product. And I mean, that's something we do in our product communities. Typically, if someone sends me one off the cuff through, I don't know, on social media, I'm probably not going to review it. So I wanted to allocate some time to be able to review some of those listings with everybody live. So I have a list of a couple listings that we're going to pop up together to review and just walk you through the steps that we use as a company that sold over $500 million on Amazon. Steps that we use to review products and make educated buying decisions to help you protect your investment in the product that you're purchasing. All right, so the first product we're going to look at here is the Secret antiperspirant and deodorant women original unscented visible solid pH balance 2.6 ounce pack of 6. So something I immediately spot here is that it's a pack of 6, and I'll get into what value that provides for you in a couple of minutes here. But the price that they said they're paying $270 a unit, we pop out up a calculator, $270 a unit times 6 in the total pack size, $16.20 for this product. So we plug in $16.20 into the buy cost, and it gives us our margin, ROI, and profit. Now, I always recommend having minimums for all of these. So this 20% profit margin, gross profit margin for a 20% is very healthy. There's ROI of 40% before any expenses is also very healthy. Dollar amount of $674 for any internal business expenses is also very healthy. Right now, we like to look at is how many units is it? We've already confirmed that it's profitable. That's the first step. Always make sure it's profitable. Because if it's not profitable, there's no reason to really dive deeper and look at it. You can always review it on a later order or a future purchase order you're putting together. So this product checks the profit box when we move forward. Next thing I want to do is, all right, how many are the expected units per month? Easy Insight says 397 is software used, provides all the data. And additionally, there is this number down here, which I think is probably the most accurate because this is an Amazon provided number. And this number here says 400 bought in the past month. Another location that this Amazon provided number could be viewed is this yellow line in the second keeper chart. So the second keeper chart, they have this yellow line here, which if you hover over the yellow dot, it says monthly sold, and at the bottom it says historical data for the bought and past month metric as shown on SERP, Amazon search engine. It's not Amazon only provides data in tracking ranges 50 plus or 100 plus rather than exact. So because they're saying here that this is 400 plus, this would be 400 a month to 499. If you got any ACE, I'm live. You get the interface much more simple. And so we conclusion that this listing is selling 4 or 5. Now a third software I have just as checks and balances, which I rarely use, is the AMC. This one says 531. So they're all pretty much lined up with this 400. So we're going to figure 4 to 500 units. So the next thing I want to do is pop down to the keeper chart. My keeper chart is always defaulted to the year. I suggest your keeper chart is defaulted to the year. Look at because prices change, fees change. The year will give you a transparent date range of the products that you're so this year keeper chart, I mean, it's a little bit all over the place, but also something I've noticed is that there's not many what color, dark red buy boxes. So it looks like this list may go a buy box impression due to pricing issues on the third-party marketplace. buy box has been pretty consistent since, the end of March as being with a buy box. So, I mean, this is listing that be the reason why I'm not going to go super aggressive on it, because I hate to buy a bunch of inventory and then all of a sudden the buy box goes suppressed and my sales go from 400 units a month. Let's say you're getting 50% of the buy box, your sales go from 7 or 8 units a day down to 1 or 2 units a day, and you go 150 or 180 units, 6-packs, and now you have 4 or 5 months of supply because you only sold. Right? So it's absolutely something definitely you want to consider here. Is this buy box that looks like it's getting stretched, right? So when you look at the ranking line, you can see that the lowest it's really ever been in the past year, which is good. The buy box price, it ranges from 31.50 to 474, and even skyrockets up here, high 38s, mid 38s, which is good. I mean, there's some pricing fluctuations, but to just safeguard ourselves, I probably want to go and just see, like, all right, let's say we need to do back at this 28.72 in order to get buy box a little less than that. Like, for any money to be made at, let's say, 27.99. Right? And we plug in 27.99 and boom. Like, worst case scenario for this listing, we're still making a little bit of shekel on this product, which is a good sign, right? There's a little bit of profitability. So, I mean, that excites me even more because that means if there's a price drop. That's not a small price drop, right? That's not like a 3% price drop. I mean, that's a 1% price drop. It's $6 price drop. So a pretty substantial price drop. You'd still be protected and be able to pull a profit. Good, because you don't want to pull it for the deep or a loss, right? So next thing, to the data statistics, the data tab on Chiba and look up the buy box statistics. And the buy box statistics, we're just looking for any seller who's absolutely dominating or looking for a brand name of the seller selling or something that would have been indicated in the Keeper chart. Amazon selling. We don't know these products. So based on this first glance, I mean, it's pretty healthily split between a majority of the sellers on this list. It's not like one seller's substantially dominating the buy box here. So, I mean, that is a good sign. This first seller here, 27% in the past 90 days, 47% in the past 30 days. So they're obviously a little aggressive. So we have to come up to AZ Insight, figure out how much stock they're winning 50% of the buy box. Probably going to continue to win 50% of the buy box. Another interesting is they're not currently winning the buy box right now. And we'll be able to pop up in this list a little bit further and analyze why they're not actually winning this buy box. So based on the total supply in its offer, remember, don't forget we said this list is selling more and 499 units a month. There's about 415 units of supply on this listing. 150 of them are FBA sellers, 205 IBM sellers. But immediately, I'd imagine you probably eliminate anybody who's priced probably above this 682 because they're not even going to be $5. So that immediately removes 100 units that's available for around it down. There's about 300 of sellable inventory that's somewhat buy box competitive that can be sold on this listing, which based on the sell-through of this listing, it's only about 3 weeks of supply. By the time you purchase this product, package it or have your prep center package it, ship it to Amazon, I mean, a lot of those quantities are going to get much lower. Now, does that mean that a new seller can't pop on the listing? Absolutely, it does. That's the fear of the unknown. So you can't live in that fear. It's very important not to live in that fear. But one thing I see here, which we kind of want to dive a little deeper on this insight chart. One thing that I see here is that the buy box right now is at 33.82, but there's 2 sellers at 33.12. So like you immediately think, all right, why aren't they winning the buy box? Well, first thing I want to check is the amount of inventory to be in. They both have 14 units, while this seller winning the buy box at 68. So they're a little heavily inventory on this listing, which could be prioritized on the buy box. But additionally, one thing you want to look at is the ship time, which most people overlook. So immediately right here, I can see why these two sellers at distribution and Vitazone aren't winning the buy box. Listing and are using the buy box at about 70% or 70 cents higher than these two sellers are listed at. And FBM is because they're May 29th to May 30th, while this seller has May 30th to June 2nd. So even in the best case scenario, will be on the last day of this person's promised delivery, right? But this is a day earlier that they're saying it can arrive, and this one on the same day as the last day of this seller, or 2 days later, which is good. And I don't know how many days they have, but if it's, I imagine it's good. So I mean, that's why that seller's winning the buy. So another thing that I like about this listing, which a lot of people really don't talk about, but I'm going to talk about it. I've been doing this with a lot of people don't talk about is how this product is shipped to you from the manufacturer. Now, I sold hundreds of thousands of dollars of secret deodorants and liquid deodorant, all sorts, probably millions of dollars. Definitely millions of dollars of deodorant in my 13 years. And one thing that I know is that a product like this, especially the secret, is going to come in a case of 12, and most likely it's going to be 2 sleeves of 6 pieces per sleeve, right? So the package of 12 is going to be 2 shrink wrap sleeves of 6 units. And maybe worst case scenario, it will be 3 shrink wrap films of 4 units. Or excuse me, 4 shrink wrap films of 3 units. So it's either going to be packaged as 2 6-packs or 4 3-packs. And why is this good information to know? Because if this product, like I expect it to be, is shipped to us as 2 6-packs in a 12-count case, what's that tell everybody immediately? This product needs little to no prep. It doesn't need to be poly bag. You don't have to spend the time putting it in a poly bag, right? Repackaging it. All it's going to be do not separate label, and you can put these back into a box, preferably a bigger box, because you don't want to reuse that tiny little box, because that's a lot of extra taping of tiny boxes. You probably want to use maybe a 16 by 18 by 16 box or something along those lines, so you can get what's the total weight on this product. The ship weight is about 2 pounds. So you figure 1.5 pounds. I mean, you can get 30 products, 30 packs before you look at 50-pound weight limit at Amazon. So, yeah, I mean, this is a product I want to get signed up on. I'm gonna share 2 numbers. I always like to share 2 numbers, like the numbers that I would buy or a larger seller should buy, and then a number like a new seller should buy. And the numbers that the new seller should buy are typically lower, especially in the product like this. But I know I've sold products just like this, probably even sold. I have experience to make higher educated decision based on past experience of actually selling. And something I would do is pop into my repricer and put this ACID in and see when the last time I sold it was and see how it sells and check out and analyze that data to make a better educated product. But for a larger seller, a seller with experience, based on the data here, I would have no problem getting 120, 140 units. Right? There's no risk of really any intellectual property complaints. The chart's very healthy. If you go back to from the beginning of time, I mean, it's never even gone to one seller. It looks like maybe here for like a split second. No, it didn't. So I mean, everything, and it's a massive brand. Who's the manufacturer by? Unilever manufactures this product. Or no, Procter & Gamble manufactures this product. So Procter & Gamble is a massive distribution or manufacturer that distributes tens of thousands of products globally. So my concern of them coming in as seller is very, very low. So I think it's easy as an experience of getting 100 units only reason I probably wouldn't go like, maybe 240 or 288 is because of this risk that we talked about before, the potential buy market. So as a new seller, I would be 100% confident in getting 48, maybe 36 if we were to skip. I think 48 would be a very reasonable amount of it to purchase per product, like, without a doubt. Let's see if we got another product we can look at together here that's somewhat semi-accurate. All right, so this is the next product we're going to look at, and then we're going to get to some of these questions in the chat. And so Juan said, let's say, would you mind sharing top 5 KPIs and more importantly, the thinking behind them? So Juan, if you could elaborate a little bit on the purchase side or like operating the business side, because I mean, although they're going to be slightly different, I guess they're pretty similar. So the top 5 KPIs would be obviously profit would be the net profit, right? Not gross profit, not expected profit, net profit. How much net profit are we making on a month? Super important data point to know. And the only way to understand that would be another KPI to really get a hold of that. So how much money are you spending to operate that business, right? What's it cost you to run your business a month? And then what's it cost you to run your business a week? And then you can extrapolate that even further to what it cost you to run your business a day. And you can extrapolate it even further and say, what does it cost you to run your business an hour, a minute, and a second? That's going to really allow you to set minimum buying requirements for the products that you, which is super cool. Another healthy KPI that you want to track in your Amazon business one will be your sell-through. Your sell-through can be found on Amazon Seller Central. So I'll actually put it up here real quick if I'm logged in. 30 seconds. I'm going to Seller Central. Let's see what my sell-through is. Oh, it's going to send me a code. But the other metric, the third metric, see what the code is. About to me right now. And for anybody watching on the TikTok side, I am live. I'm live on YouTube if you want the full experience. It's Econ Profit Path. That's the YouTube channel. All right, so you're going to go in order to get the third data point that I'm talking about here, Juan. You're going to want to go to your you want to go to your FBA dashboard, which is what you found by clicking the 3 little lines in the top left of Seller Central, and then go into inventory and then select the dashboard. Indicator is going to be yourself, right? So just busting out a quick little calculator here, we can calculate what our average sell-through for our products is. We're just looking at going based on experience. We're right around 40 days. Still have storefront, still have selling. So if you take 90, this is considered a 90-day sell-through. When you take 90 and you divide it by 1.94, it will tell you how many days your average product is in stock. And for us right now, it's 46 days. So this is an important data point to understand because if you have a very low sell-through, your sell-through is 1, you do 90 by 1, it's telling you your product, your average product is in stock for the 3 days. Probably too high. It means you don't have a quick enough sell-through, you're not turning cash fast enough, holding out to inventory. Right? But let's say you have a sell-through of, let's say 3.8, right? Also way too high of a sell-through because that means your average product is in stock for only 23 days. And that means to me that you're not going aggressive enough on buying inventory and you can go much more aggressive with inventory because you want to have products for 30 days. A common concern for a lot of sellers is like, well, Everett, what about low inventory level fees? And what I have to say about low inventory level fees is don't let low inventory level fees impact the way you're buying out of fear of the fee. The only time we consider not or trying to avoid low inventory level fees is if we've historically sold the product. I recommend that you do that as well. If you have historically sold that product before, then you can be a little more aggressive. But for a first-time purchaser, you shouldn't be worried about low inventory. If you're low, you're not going to eat up, a shit ton of your profit. You shouldn't be concerned about. And then the fourth metric would be your return rate. The fourth metric would definitely be your return rate. You want to track your return rates. I was just sharing on a live the other day. Our average return rate for the year was 1.6%, which is phenomenal. Like phenomenal. I mean, 1.6%. People would really fight to have. Anything really for the course is pretty reasonable, but it will also depend on what categories you're selling. Right? If you're selling in primarily apparel or shoes or high-end electronics, your return rate is going to be much higher than 3%. It's probably even going to be above 10%, which is crazy. And then the fifth data point that we like to track in our business, orange bars are cool, but orange bars don't make the profit on those orange bars. But the fifth data point that we like to put into action, and this ties into the second, which was understanding your expenses, or maybe it was the third, understanding your expenses, would be understanding how many units you're shipping to FBA or selling FBM on a weekly basis. Because you always want that number to be growing. Because your business will grow if that number is not growing. Right? If you're not, and as long as your average sales price, you start buying higher cost products, then your business can grow with selling the equivalent or even less inventory to greatly increase your average selling price. But if you don't greatly increase your average selling price, the only way to grow your business is by either prepping more inventory to ship it to FBA or by shipping more FBM orders. I hope that was helpful for you. No, I'm not live on Insta. I'm live on YouTube and TikTok right now. If the seller is doing FBM and it's 80% of the buy box, and I want the FBA, how much more expensive to sell it when FBA? Abraham, I don't really have a direct answer for you because that's going to greatly depend on the listing that you're selling on, and also the shipping. FBM sellers, how much quantity they have, how much they sold on those listings. So I couldn't tell you, hey, you can raise it 10%. What we will do in our business is we set up with pricer floors or pricer minimums, and we've done this for years. And you want to kind of let it play out, right? And you want to see what price you win the buy box at. But I wouldn't be able to give you a percentage, man. I'd be lying to you. Let's see what we got over here. Do you always purchase 10% of the buy box? No. So on this listing, TikTok, I purchased 50% of the buy box. When an item is not on brand, it will say X. Visit the TikTok store. I don't know what that means. I think I get what you're saying. How do you start? What budget is needed? I mean, you can start with arbitrage for $100. Wholesale, I recommend having $6,000 to $10,000. Let's get into this next product. Let me see what the goods and sellers sent over. $550 they're paying for this product. So let's plug in $550 here. 16% gross margin, 41% ROI, $2.26 profit. So immediately what I see here is two of these data points check our minimum buying requirement. This third one does not. Your business is a little different. Not everybody buys the same, but I know our minimum buying requirement for a while was $75. So I mean, maybe $225 meets the minimum buying requirement. You're buying that low. I know 16% meets ours and 41% meets ours, but that's why we have three buying requirements in order to purchase inventory. We recommend you have three buying requirements to purchase inventory because if one of them doesn't make sense, you gotta dive in. So based on this, it looks like it's throwing out 600 units compared to the Amazon provided data. AZ Insights giving a little more aggressive number here. But what I always like to do with a product that says I'm making around 225 is before negotiating any discounts with your supplier. So let's say you're able to negotiate, a small discount on this product. For 50 cents now, plus 276. Now we're looking better. But we're going to leave it at the 250 that the person's going to be with the product. The next thing I want to do is slide over to the chart and just see, like, all right, where's the consistencies, the inconsistencies in this. So when I look at this keeper data, I mean, it's pretty consistent. It went up higher over here in October to January, and let me see why. I thought maybe it was, I didn't even look at the product. The product yourself, mine doesn't really matter. It's about the data on the product, but it's a statement. So I would imagine stainless movers sell better in winter months. If we put this open, a little sort here. Early September, with higher price point here is in August, this higher price point here is September, this higher price point here is November, January. So no, not a seasonal product. That could be ruled out. Next thing I want to look at is the inconsistencies in this keeper data, and also look at the lowest historical price as a. So I mean, I wouldn't even consider this here because this is pre-Amazon adjusting some of those. So I wouldn't even consider this low price here at 11.77 in the buy box. Now, if it did go back to this higher price at 14.99, obviously that would be a nicer margin in there for us. With 319. But looking at just the past 3 months, it looks like the lowest consistent buy box price that we're going to kind of analyze here would be right around 13.40 for about 2 weeks, a week, or what is that? So for about 4 days, it was that's 13.40, and then another 2 days 13.40, which is basically kind of almost what it's now that we came up below. So now we got to check the data tab, look at the buy box statistics here. So we're going to look at the buy box statistics, see if anyone's dominating. And 90 days is pretty healthily split. You can even see there's some sellers with only 25 buy box. Then it has 30 days. It's also, I mean, for sure, winning a nice buy box at 60%. The next thing I want to do is go and pop in and see how much inventory they're at. It looks like they're kind of the ones in the buy box now. And they're listed FBA. So I definitely want to check how much inventory they have. And it looks like they have may have limit on the supply only because of it's a little bit need to check out. Let's see. But I'm assuming they might have a limit on their supply, right? Only because it says 5, and 5 is coming. Has to be set manually. It can be set. Catalog. That's set. Your edit listing options, right? So I mean that's a little concerning. Not quite sure how much they have, but also I wasn't able to check. So I mean this listing, I would probably pass on this. I wouldn't add this to or recommend a market to buy. You probably have products. But if you're just newer and getting started, I would be comfortable adding some units to this because at the beginning, your main goal is that's possible. Your main goal is to move forward and build that trust with Amazon and build relationships with buyers. So if I was a newer seller, I would probably grab some up of this. I mean, I wouldn't go crazy aggressive. Like maybe get 36, 48. I mean, we'll definitely sell for, you can get 72 if you wanted to. It's a rather easy product to package. To, you can always additionally check the prep requirements, but at a first glance, I mean, it looks like it's just a label. That's doesn't look like. I would pass at our scale, but I would probably say yes. I mean, if this was our business 2016 when we were just scaling, this is definitely a product we would have bought it without a doubt. Without a doubt. Got some questions. I know you mentioned trade shows a lot, but other than trade shows, what other ways are you finding suppliers? So we're using Google. We're using trade shows to and also trade shows to shop them in the directory. We're using sites like Owler, which is a paid site. It's also not inexpensive, like maybe $200 a month to get access to Owler, or like not, I think yeah, $150 or $200 a month for Owler. They might have a plan. We're also using ChatGPT. So those are probably the let's see. So much. That's a very detailed. Very detailed. My margin for the past 30 days is 23%. That's phenomenal. And then he said my sell-through rate is 1.4. So 90 divided by 1.4. You got your average product in stock for one is about 64 days. So it's a little high. I mean, you can get a much healthier return on your cash flow by lowering that. And the best way to lower that would be slightly decrease your profits. Just allocate a small portion. I don't know if you've run any ads. What's the rest you say? You average about 400 a week in this month. 400 sales a week or $400 a week. Uh, Either way, you're in the starting phase. So, I mean, 23% is healthy, but you want to get that sell-through higher, especially I imagine most of your purchases are going on credit cards, like most new Amazon sellers are. And a 64-day sell-through, by the time you purchase, prep, and ship the inventory in, it gets received, available for sale. You're looking at the 75 to 80 days of your full life cycle of your AC, which is a long time. I mean, that's almost 2 full billing cycles, or that's over 2 full billing cycles. So, yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. So you definitely want to get that lower, my friend. Let's see what we got going on over here. What's the healthy trifecta KPI? Just profit, buy-up statistics, estimated monthly sales, any complaints, any review complaints or projected complaints reviews. And somebody said in the chat, isn't secret restricted? So based on the 15 to anywhere from 4 to 17 sellers on this listing, I would say not. It would be restricted for you if you're a new seller, but the goal would be to sell you so you can hopefully get auto on 400 units shipped a week. That's good, man. That's a good one. So you're growing, dude. That's good. Let's just say your average sell price. We're just going to say, just based on averages for most sellers, we'll say $22. So 22 times 400. You send it in about like $4,000 worth of inventory to Amazon, which is about $8,800 in revenue. So I would imagine based on that. I'm going to take a guess here, Juan. You let me know if I'm right in the comments, but I imagine you're doing about 25. Is that correct? On the chat. Just going to spitball here to say. Compton D said, Compton D said, I just pinned it. Should we expect to be in the 10 to 15% profit range for wholesale? I think 15 is pretty par for the course. Average of 15. We, for many years, have sold products that have made us 18, 20, 25% margins in wholesale, but then we've also sold products that have made us 8, 10, 12% margins. That's why a healthy margin will be right around 15. Now, if you're at like high 12s, that's good. You can get it higher. If you're above 15, phenomenal. You're doing a great job. But also something to you have to consider is the size of your business, right? So let's just say, let's bust out a calculator here. We're just going to focus on gross here, whatever you've done now. Different, but I'm going to make this full screen. So let's just say, like your wand size, right? You're doing $25,000 a month, and you're at, let's just say, a higher profit margin, like you're at a 20% profit margin, right? So you're doing 25K a month, and you're at a 20% gross margin. So before expenses, you're making about 5K, right? Now, say you really you're doing some 25,000 a month, you're now doing 70,000 a month, right? But because you're doing higher volume, your profit gross margin drops from 20% to 15%. Now, instead of $5,000 a month, you're making 10.5 thousand. Right? So even though your gross margin is lower, you're making more money because you're selling more inventory. That's the name of the game, right? As long as you're efficient in the process. I mean, the difference between a $25,000 a month and a $60,000 a month, it's not like you need 5 employees to do 70K a month. I mean, most people I know doing 70K a month have one employee themselves. Right? They're the operator, the owner, the prepper, the packer, the buyer, the shipper, the account health guy. They're doing it all. Sent in my first test like 3 weeks ago and sold out in 2 days, learning how to move. Yeah. I mean, that's better than having to sell out in 2 months. Oh, yeah, we've shut down our main Amazon account, KG. Can an item be off-brand in the description and still have the visit brand name store? No. Well, yes, I guess you could. If it was incorrectly created, it could. It's a common issue you're going to see. It absolutely could. You think selling brand name products will last a couple more years? I do think selling brand name products will last a couple more years. I do think even arbitrage will last a couple years because there's always an opportunity to buy something for low and sell it for higher. I just think the opportunity will be slightly, right? So it doesn't mean it's going to completely stop, but it does mean that it will decrease. So this next product someone sent me, let's pull this up. I'm a URL guy. I always like to put the URL. Just put Amazon.com/DP/instant and we'll populate. Um, so this is a 12-pack of Ricola cough suppressant throat drops. The cost of goods per item this gentleman or lady who sent me this ASIN is paying is $1.80 per pack. So let's bust out a little calculator and do $1.80 times 12 ASINs. That's $21.60 for this 12-pack of Ricolas. And I would imagine, just based on my experience, this is shipped to you as a 12-pack, so there'd be little prep required. You just have to throw a do not separate label. What's up, man? You just have to throw a do not separate label and an FN SKU on it, which is super, super easy to prep. So that's a good sign. Now, one of the concerns I immediately see without even diving into any of the data on this listing is this is a throat lozenge. So it's what's one thing about throat lozenges, typically in months, the majority of the country, a majority of the lower half of it doesn't experience colder months, and then in a higher part of the country, more north, does, but that season is really over. And I'm sure if we look at this keep a graph, I thought we were going to be able to see it very transparent here, but we don't, which is interesting as well. I thought there was crazy changes. Let's do from 2022 to 2025, 2022 to 2025. So I mean, this list has just been getting higher and ranked forever. And I mean, on average, looking at 38 now. Let's look at some of these products or product details. Things are. So current's 38, past 90 is 40, 180 39. So you can imagine this product's going to sell for $39, no matter what. It's going to sell for $39. Pretty much the price it's selling for right now. So I mean, just based on this, although the market makes sense, the ROI makes sense, the dollar amount makes sense. The one thing that doesn't really make sense is the volume. I know as a newer seller, one of our prerequisites many years ago was to sell at minimum. We wouldn't buy any products. And initially, we used to buy 4 of something and 6 of something and then 8 of something. But once you start to grow, you realize how inefficient that is. So our original cutoff many years ago was 12, and then maybe 3 or 4 years ago, we bumped up that minimum cutoff to 24. So essentially what that minimum cutoff means is if our company or your company sell more, let's say for you, your smaller seller, 12 units a month, then it's not worth bringing it to your store. Or if you're a larger seller, if your company can get more than 24 units of sales in that 30-day period, then it's probably not worth bringing into your company. The amount of time you have to move that inventory, someone needs to buy the inventory, then the inventory gets shipped. You have to process that inventory, prep that inventory, repackage that inventory, palletize or box that inventory, and then it's a lot of steps cost for 12 years. So if you're bigger, that should definitely be higher, and if you're just getting started, it could be lower. All right. So I mean, I'm not excited about it. I'm really not. I probably would pass just because it's not even in season. I mean, the margin is not great. You got it $21, make $4. I mean, sell-through's not there. Now, if you're new and you're looking for products to increase the size of your order, you can absolutely add 10 or 12 cases of this for 12 cases worth to your order if you're looking to try to establish a relationship and grow that relationship. You absolutely do that. So right now, this buy box is an FBM seller. Buys this FBM seller. This is interesting. So they probably came in and I said less than this seller. That's what box at 38, 37. I bet you if you FBA, let's say 38, 70, or maybe even be able to use it a little higher, 99. I think you should be able to put $5 on it. So right now, sellers buy box. If you look at the ship times, what is that FBA seller at? The FBA seller is right here, and they don't have expected. Yeah, no expected ship. That's why one of the reasons they're not buy box. The other reason is they're $7 higher, $6 higher, $6, whatever, 20 cents or 18 cents. Well, once again, here we go. FBM seller, right? This guy's at 38.87. This one's at 38.86. You would think that this will in the buy box. For the reason they're not, their ship date is 2 days extended. This person's ship date, right? They put in get this one. June 2nd, quickest. So another thing to consider. We're gonna pop up one more here. I got a list of these that people have been sending me forever. Well, not forever, but maybe for the past 2 months. So I'm going to we'll dive into it. Actually, I'll pick two. The first one's going to be quick. Actually, let's see. I'll tell everybody over here. All right, here's one. This one might be a large bulky. So once again, straight into the URL. Search. So this is a 6-pack of oat brand. I don't believe this is going to be profitable, but we're going to run the data first. They said they're buying it for 192 per 6-pack. So we clear this 192 times 6 is going to be like 11 and change. It's 1152. Well, so it is profitable, but interesting. This FHD is correct. 36 product with the large standard at 727. We don't want to do with the FHD. Inconsistent. Amazon that just seems a little low. Seems a little low. Let's see. Go straight to the source. Pop-up source. That's where the magic is. You can assume it. So this is saying that it's used shipping weight, the actual weight of the product. Let's run a quick dimensional weight calculation here just to make sure the dimensional weight is 1405. Dimensional weight is length times width times height divided by 139. Dimensional weight is 1405 times 72 times 377 equals divided by 139. So they're using the actual weight of this. What is not always bring up to the pounds. The category for shipping is large standard. So we're going to be looking for the 8 pounds large standard. Bring us here. So it's 3 pounds. It's $6.92 for the first 3 pounds. What's that on calculator? So we got $6.92 for the first 3 pounds, and then 8 cents for 4 ounces interval above 3 pounds. So Amazon actually rounding up to 4 ounce interval. All right, so we got 7.27. So 0.27 would be 16 ounces. 0.27, so 16 times 0.27 would be 4.32 ounces. So there's 2 additional places here for the 0.27. It's not just ounces directly up. Right, so the next math we will do is figure out how many 4 ounces we have. 4.8 really, not 4.2. Right, so and this is where we're going to lose a lot of people because a lot of people they don't want to understand actually the data behind business. That's why a lot of people are continue to fail in their Amazon businesses. I mean, I promise you that 99.5% will run figure it out. And once again, they're probably all right. So I mean, as soon as I bust out a calculator, because people don't want to be educated, they want to be. But I promise you, if you stick in the education, you know. So 4 times 4 is 16, plus the 2 additional for this 0.7 is 18. And now if we go back here, it's 0.8 cents for each 4 ounce interval. So we just figured we had 18 of them. So 18 times 0.08 is $1.44. And then the next thing we need to do is add this 692 and we get 830. So this is correct. This was correct. All right. So, I mean, good sign, $5 profit, $17 margin, 44% ROI. It's selling for 23.74. It's an FBM seller, and they're charging at 635. Delivery fee. It says it has 50 units bought in the past month, so that can be from 50 to 99. Um, Keepa data, ebbs and flows, definitely ebbs and flows. It's up, it's down. I mean, it's a little bit all over the place. A better view of the Keepa data would be in the buy box. The product details, which typically doesn't include shipping. Um, FBM, but it still looks like average is $31. So you figure that's the price we're at right now. So based on all this, the initial look, I mean, I'm getting more and more confident with this offer. I'd imagine also because it's a cereal, it probably comes shipped in a 6 pack. It may be a 12 pack. So if it's 12 pack, it'd have to be packaged and bundled into a 6 pack. Um, how do you make a milli by tomorrow? I don't know, man. But if you find a way, I mean, I guess put everything you own, your house, uh, your same expiration call or put. Fingers crossed. Yeah, absolutely, Hanji. This is juice. I'm just providing value. I mean, this is yours. Uh, so I mean, Keepa data's, I mean, lowest it gets is 27. Over here it gets 27 again. So, I mean, even at 27, you're still able to pull a small profit out of it, 241, which is terrible. I mean, that's one case scenario. But if we go back to what it's listed at now, right around 31, I mean, you're making a little over $5 every time you sell this for $11 investment, which is pretty good if you ask me. Um, so what I want to really check here is how many of these sellers have in stock. That's something that's going to help me if I want to buy this. If there's like a seller that has inventory on its listing. So the numbers are calculating up here. Like we said, it's selling between 50 and 100 units a month, between 50 and 99 units a month. And it looks like, I mean, nobody has trading stocks. I would be comfortable. I mean, to bring in as a larger seller, I'd probably get 36. Smaller, brand new. I mean, I don't know if I'm getting 18, 20. Probably. I don't know, even with this drop that they're getting at, what we calculate at, whatever we get, yeah, FBA at 35. So it looks like FBA is higher too. FBA at 36, 54, and with the and FBA 33 now. Here, boom, here's $5 at 699. So there's even opportunity to sell it at a higher price. So let's just say you're able to average sell it at $33 because you get some sales at 36, you get some sales at 31. I make it 751. I mean, that's a 65% return on investment, 23% margin, $7 on every order you sold. Let's just say on my side, you get 36 and you're $7 a unit, boom, this product just made you $252, right? In a 30 to 45 day time period. Now let's say you find 10 products like that. Boom, you got $2,500 a month. Now let's say you're able to find 100 products like that. Boom. You got 25 or 252 times 100. You got $25,000 a month, right? And that's how you scale out of it. You just double down on what's working. So out here on the YouTube side, I'm going to stick around for 2 or 3 minutes on the TikTok side and answering follow-up questions. But I appreciate y'all hanging out. Please go back, watch this video. Tons of nuggets with here. I mean, we reviewed 4, maybe 5 or 6 products together. And I appreciate y'all hanging out. So have a beautiful day.